Hey folks, Todd here. Today we're going to install the Gator FX from RealTruck on this 2024 GMC Sierra. Now it's the same installation for the Silverado. It's also the same installation if it was the Gator FX3. The tools we'll be using for this installation are a ratchet with a 1/2-inch socket, a Phillips head screwdriver, and a pair of scissors. Let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so the first thing we want to do when we get started is install our bulkhead seal. Now here's our bulkhead. I've already gone ahead and patted this down with some rubbing alcohol just to get any kind of oily residues, any kind of residues off the surface and get a nice clean surface. If you got a painted surface, you don't have to dab it, you just kind of wipe it. But the texture on the spray and bed liner, you kind of want to dab that. What we're going to do, we're going to apply this seal right across the top edge of the bulkhead as far away from the cab as possible, but just before it starts to kind of round down. So we're going to follow this line right across here. What I like to do is pull off about 6 inches of tape protector, go all the way up against the bulkhead, and then just set it in place. And when we get to the other side, we're just going to cut it in place with a pair of scissors. And press it down. All right, now we can go ahead and start working on our rail. Okay, so here is our driver's side rail. Now we're going to have the drain cup that faces towards the cab. So we're going to go ahead and pull off this shipping block and get it out of the way. The way this is going to hang on top of the bed cap is just going to set up on top and then slide all the way forward towards the bulkhead. Now, what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to assemble the clamps onto here. Here's the clamp. Let me go ahead and pull this down and show you what we're going to do with these clamps. So each one of the clamps are going to come like this. What we're going to do is I like to pull the clamps apart. So we're going to take the long bolt all the way out, set it to the side. Then we got 2 halves of the clamp. The side that has the long oval hole, we're going to hold on to that one, bring our rail back up, and then rotate it up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to decide where we want to have our clamps. So I'm going to have one right up towards the front, one right towards the rear, and one right in the center. If you notice on the inside of the rail, we've actually got a groove that's in there, and that channel is the same shape as the top of the clamp. So we're going to fit the clamp up inside that channel, push in, and snap it into place. Now I can slide that back and forth, but it's kind of trapped inside that channel. I'm going to do the same thing with my other 2 clamps. Set that in, snap it in place. Take this one, set that in, and snap that one in place. And now we can rotate it down. Once the rail's in place, I can take each one of my clamps and set them exactly where I want them. But before I attach the back side of the clamps, I want to show you the shim placement. All right, first I want to talk about the clamp location is going to be directly above the wheel well. Now, if you watch when I squeeze together right here with the bed cap and the bed cap cover, they kind of squeeze together. There's a little bit of a gap. So whenever you place the clamp there, whenever you clamp that down, it's going to deform down and that will pitch the rail down. So what we need to do is we need to install a shim. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this shim, we're going to peel this back, make sure the shim goes all the way up in place, make sure it's high up in there, but we also want to make sure it stays. So I'm going to peel back the adhesive protector, slide it up in, and peel that away. There we go. Now when I squeeze here, it doesn't deform in. Now I do also want to point out, if you go to other places along the rail, some places need shims and some do not. So if you look up in this front location, it's actually the metal flange is right up against the bed cap. So we're going to be placing our clamp here. I don't need a shim. This one I've already got the shim. This is where we're going to put our center clamp. And at the rear, where the very rear of this location, the sheet metal is right up against the bed cap. So we're going to be putting our clamp right here. If I were to go too far forward, then I would need to have a shim. So we're gonna go to this location here, and let's go ahead and grab our rail. All right, now here is our rail. Now before it gets all the way up against here and gets a little tight, I'm gonna go ahead and attach our drain tube. So that's gonna go right up into the drain cup, just like so. And then we'll route that after we get the rail attached. So we're gonna go ahead and bring it down, bring it all the way forward up against the bulkhead. And now we're gonna go ahead and get the other half of the clamp, slide it up in place, hold those together, and take our bolt and run it through. Now once I've got it finger tight, I'm gonna go ahead and grab a 1/2-inch wrench or ratchet and go ahead and tighten that down. We're gonna tighten that to 10 foot-pounds. As you're tightening, make sure you bear down and in. All right, let's go ahead and move up to the front clamp. We're doing the same thing. We're gonna make sure that behind we are attaching to a part of the rail where we don't need the shim. Set the clamp in place. Got it finger tight. Tighten it down with a 1/2-inch to 10 foot-pounds. And the last clamp the exact same way. Make sure that we can feel where that clamp needs to be. Adjust the clamp placement if necessary. All right, now that I've got it hand tight, what I like to do is kind of push down on the rail a little bit closer to the tailgate area and pull in there and go ahead and tighten it down here. All right, now let's go ahead and move up to the drain. On your Chevy and GMC trucks, there's a couple of places where you can route this without having to worry about drilling any kind of holes. Right here, there's a hole in the side. This actually had a little rubber plug that was in there that's been pulled out. So this drain tube is gonna get routed up into here. So what I'm gonna do is just determine how much drain tube that I wanna have in there, cut that off, and then route that just like so. We're gonna repeat the same process for the rail on the opposite side. Okay, now this is the way the cover comes out of the box. Now I wanna point your attention to this strap and slam latch. Now, from right here, I can grab a hold of the cover and pull it open. And I've got the header panel that's right here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get the packing material out of the way. What we're gonna do is peel away the tape. Peel away the tape on the back side as well. We're gonna take a couple of the posts. These are threaded posts that are in our kit. We're gonna slide those into those two holes. We'll go ahead and let this back down. Now we've got on this side, we've got the two threaded posts that are visible. We're gonna be lining up our clip receiver there. Before we set the clip receiver in place though, we need to go ahead and peel away our seal. Make sure it's lined up properly and lined up to the holes. Press that in place. And then we can line up to the two posts. You can grab the two screws that are going to go into position. We're going to line those up, take a Phillips head screwdriver. And you don't have to over tighten it, you just want to get it nice and snug. All right, we're going to fold this back. These are our cover retaining clamps. What I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen that up. Once that's loose, I can take and push up here. We've got a carriage bolt with a square head. That carriage bolt needs to slide into that C channel. You'll also notice we've got a notch on the back side of the clamp. That notch is going to be resting and nesting inside the channel itself. So basically what we're going to do is slide that in and make sure the notch is in there. I don't want to bring this over too far because when we set it on top of the rail is going to go right here. I just want this in place. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and snug this down. Not tight, just so it doesn't move around while I'm installing the cover. We're going to repeat the same process for the cover retaining clamp and the clip receiver on the other side of the cover as well. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and take the cover and set it up on top of the rails right behind the cab of the truck. We want to make sure that the seal for the bulkhead rests right over top of the bulkhead. And you might hear it click into place, that's fine. We also want to make sure that it's centered side to side. So let me go ahead and slide this over close up to the front as possible. All right, now what we're going to do is one panel at a time, fold it back to the tailgate and center each panel as we go. All right, and as we go, make sure everything stays nice and centered. Remove any kind of packing material as we go as well. All right, now let me go ahead and check tailgate engagement. We're going to do that is lift this up, that way the tailgate doesn't knock this out of alignment. All right, there we go, that looks good. Let's go ahead and very gently fold it up back towards the cab, and then we can go ahead and set it up at the front. Okay, so here we are underneath the cover on the driver's side. This is our cover retaining clamp right here. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to loosen this up. Let this drop down. Make sure that that notch stays inside the channel. We're going to slide it over to the rail and allow the groove to capture the rail in that groove. And we can go ahead and snug it back down. All right, and go ahead and repeat the same process on the opposite side. Okay, one other thing we need to do is as we lift the cover up towards the cab, we'll notice that the cab needs to be protected from the cover and the cover from the cab as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to be applying these bumpers onto the top edge of the frame of the cover. Before we do that, these are using 3M tape, so we need to make sure we prep this surface properly. We're using some isopropyl rubbing alcohol, and we're going to wipe down the surfaces, any place where we are going to have contact from cab to cover. So we're going to go right to the center on this one here. There we go. And then this one over here, let's put that one right about here. And then the last one right here. Make sure you bear down nice and tight to get good adhesion. And there we go, we're all protected. Well, it's just that simple, and that concludes the installation.